What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith, where we bring you premier, hot off the press NFL draft content. And ladies and gentlemen, right next to me is one of the best offensive linemen in this year's 2024 draft. Mark my word. Gunnar Britton is an offensive lineman from Auburn. Shout out to the War Eagles, man. Look,
War Eagle.
This guy is the man with the master plan. There's not a whole lot of people getting past him. He is battle tested, recently selected for the Hula Bowl and then the Shrine Bowl because he balled out that much. One of the best offensive linemen in this year's draft. A mountain of a man standing at over 6'6". He's NBA size, but football talent, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome Gunnar Britton. How are you today, man?
I'm going good. I just got done with some stuff for training and stuff and just kind of hanging around. So
right on, man. Dude, I'm so happy and blessed to have you on the show today, man. Seriously, dude. Huge honor, man. I want to ask you, man, take us from the beginning. NFL draft is literally a month and a half, 2 months away. Here we are, February 8th, recording this, man. Take us from the beginning, man. When did you first fall in love with the game of football?
So for me, I mean, it was something I never really couldn't give you a day. I grew up with two older brothers that are twins they're 10 years older than me. So my whole life I've been around football and basketball and baseball. So I kind of just fell in love with it and watched them play it through high school, and they played a little bit in college. So it's been something I've always kind of been around for me. And it's kind of crazy. I used to be a quarterback and stuff when I was like younger, and then kind of getting into middle school. And then my brothers were like, "No, you're always going to be an offensive lineman. Like you're going to be bigger than we are." Like this. They were kind of the ones that started the whole journey of like, this is what you're going to be one day. And I mean, here we are, 20 years later, and I'm getting to kind of start to live it. So it's definitely been special.
That's cool, man. They spoke it into existence practically.
No, absolutely.
How tall are your brothers, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh man, they're maybe 6'1" on a good day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny because they knew, like, they went and played D2 ball, and they kind of knew that I was going to be the one to have the real chance to kind of live all of our dreams and stuff. So because I mean, even when I was little, I was always taller than everybody. So kind of they knew from a young age.
Now you mentioned you played a few other sports, man. If you had a second favorite sport, man, what would that be?
I was a better baseball player growing up than I was football. I played up until my sophomore year of high school. I actually batted in the 400s in high school. Like I was,
Wow.
that's kind of what I did. Played a lot of travel ball and stuff growing up, and then eventually when you get to 6'4", 6'5", you kind of have to make a choice on which one you want to follow and stuff. And for me at that point, I was just more into football. Like I kind of started growing better into football as I got older.
That's cool, man. What would you say was your aha moment where you realized, like, man, I'm not just a big guy who could play ball. Like I could potentially do this professionally, like NFL professionally. What was your aha moment where you realized that I'm not your average player?
Well, so for me, so I played at Western Kentucky for 5 years before I transferred to Auburn. So when I've had to play Auburn last in 2022, I actually blocked Derek Hall, who was a second round pick to the Seahawks. So
Yeah.
after blocking him, that was kind of like, okay, I can do this. For me at that point, it was like, okay, I can transfer and do this at a bigger school. Maybe I'm up for that challenge. And then obviously throughout this year, you play guys with a big old G on their helmet and a maroon helmet with some numbers on it, and you're like, okay, like these are the best of the best in college football. If I can play those, I can probably play against a lot of other people.
You see, you're one of the leaders on that entire team, right?
Mhm.
You guys had a couple tough losses, but they were against top tier talent, man. It was Georgia, it was Alabama, Ole Miss. I watched one of your interviews today, man, and just to see you hold your composure and hold it down, man, it's great. I mean, that's stuff that NFL teams are absolutely going to eat up. So man, congrats on all of your success, man. If you don't mind me asking, between your time at in Western Kentucky and then also you go over to Auburn this last year, what was a big lesson, a big takeaway for you?
For me, just learning to live where your feet are, especially in today's world, it's so easy to get caught up with what's coming next, especially, for me, with my last year eligibility, I kind of tried to just take in where I was, take in all the stuff around me. It's easy to get caught up, even especially now where you're like the draft's a month and a half away, like all this stuff that's coming into my life. But for me, it's about being where my feet are each and every day. And that's something I wish I would have learned when I was 18 years old.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What keeps you humble in life, man? You're a really humble guy, man.
No, so I'm extremely faith-based in everything I do. For me, none of the blessings I've gotten over my life or anything of what I've really done. Obviously, I work hard at what I do and stuff, but I didn't choose to be 6'6". I didn't choose any of the stuff that kind of happened to me in my life. So for me, understanding that it's bigger than me, I'm just a small piece in the puzzle, kind of just keeps me grounded.
Dude, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. You said faith-based, man. Any favorite Bible scriptures at all?
Oh, I
Or
got one. Psalms 18:32. It is God who gives me strength and makes my way perfect. It's kind of been the verse of my life. I found it when I was 16, and I got it tattooed when I turned 18. For me, that's it's something that kind of keeps me rooted in where I'm going and understanding that the Lord takes me on whatever journey, through the ups and downs, whatever happens in my process. Like it all happens for a reason, and it's something that's kind of carried me throughout my life.
man, preach it, brother. A lot of people I saw on your Instagram, I was like, oh yeah, he outspoken, man. I'm gonna ask him a question or two here today.
No, absolutely.
Very cool, very cool. I may get you in a little trouble with this one, man. You are Western Kentucky. Kentucky is known for having delicious food.
Mhm.
So is the Auburn area. Which city has better food and why?
Oh, I would say one. So, fun fact about Western, it has the most fast foods per capita in the world. I don't know.
Oh,
That told me that on my recruiting visit
I did
6
not
years
know
ago, and I
that.
still remember that. But no, I'd say probably Auburn. I got really close with a couple restaurants in Auburn. Like I love hibachi. It's my favorite food. And there's like a sit
Mhm.
down, they'll cook it in front of you. And I got really close to the people at Auburn. So like they kind of work with me and stuff through my schedule. So I'd probably say Auburn. Auburn's more of a Western has more of your fast food like chain restaurants. Auburn has more of the mom and pop's place. So I'd say
Best
I'd say
places to
probably
be,
Auburn.
man.
No, absolutely. I mean, Western has some good ones. I've made some good connections with people up there, but I would say probably Auburn.
Right on, man. That's so awesome, man. Then you were selected at the Hula Bowl not too long ago. Balled out there, and then you get selected for the East West Shrine Bowl. What was that experience like, and how do you feel like you overall performed?
I mean, I thought I did well. I think there's definitely some stuff I could have done better, but for me, I kind of showed a little bit different side of me. I play a little bit more tackle, where this season I played guard. At Western Kentucky, I played mostly tackle. So for me, it's just about showing that I can do a bunch of different stuff. I can pick up playbooks and stuff, and obviously talking to teams is always good. Getting your face out in front of, pretty much every team is something that I was really looking forward to. I thought I did well. I just kind of stayed in my lane and, try to revert back to what I was taught and stuff. So for me, it was just about playing football again. And I mean, for me, the way I look at any of this opportunities, it's just extra football. It's, everyone, you're not guaranteed to go to college, but once you get to college, you can play, for your 4 or 5 years or whatever it is. So for me, it's just another opportunity to play the game I love. Because I mean, now nothing's guaranteed. Nobody knows anything about it. Like, so for me, it was just, I got two opportunities to play and practice football. So that's kind of how I took it.
Any parts of your game that you're hoping to improve on between now and the draft?
Yeah, I mean, I try to work on my hand placement a good bit. Being a longer guy, it's like you have to understand your strike timing and your hand placement. Pad level is always big for a guy my size. That's something that every offensive lineman probably works on, and just kind of cleaning up my sets and stuff. I feel like I have pretty smooth sets, but it's one of those things like you do it every day, so you kind of have the muscle memory. So just kind of staying and building on it every day is something that's huge for me.
Love it, man. One of my favorite questions to ask NFL draft prospects, one of my favorite ones is, are there any NFL players that you actively model your game after?
I wouldn't say, model it, but I watch Brian O'Neill for the Vikings a lot, the right tackle. I think he's a
Oh,
really good
nice.
player. He's very similar to kind of what I try to do. But for me, I'm a firm believer everybody plays the game differently. Everybody's body's different. So for me, I more self-evaluate my own film and see what I can work on and stuff. Because, like people, a lot of O linemen especially are like, I'm a big Trent Williams, Lane Johnson guy. And it's like, okay, well, those two are Hall of Fame guys who have played for 20 years for a reason. Everybody's not built like Trent Williams. So
Yeah.
watching Trent Williams doesn't help everybody. So for me, it's watching what I do and stuff. And that's why I said Brian O'Neill, because I kind of feel like we have similar body types and stuff. So watching a guy, have a similar body type, how does he move? What does he work on? That's kind of stuff I've tried to pick up throughout this couple years.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I'm very familiar with his work, man, and it's very, very talented offensive lineman. That being said, man, you talk about someone who you kind of like. He would kind of be your, you say, doppelganger for skill wise, for lack of a better word. You similar build and whatnot. When it comes to schemes, the offensive line schemes, do you are there any specific schemes that are your favorite and that you feel bring out your best qualities as an offensive lineman?
I mean, I like the wide zone. is one of the plays that I really like. It's a kind of a scheme that's taken over the NFL, especially in the last couple of years, where it's not true outside zone, but it's a stretch and puncture. For me, you got to be able to adapt in anything. Obviously, everybody has a version of power, counter, inside zone, outside zone, wide zone. They all, all the schemes are very similar. It's just who's coaching it and how they want it done is how I would see. But I mean, I think one of the plays I do well at's wide zone. So,
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, that zone scheme is a doozy, man. You know, the Miami Dolphins, they implemented that last year, and this year it was, Coach Mike McDaniel, he's running with a few new people, but he was able to develop them into that scheme. And you saw Raheem, the running back, man, he had, was it 21 total touchdowns, a 32-year-old running back. So it's becoming very popular, man. So that's
no,
good. You like
absolutely.
that one. What habits have attributed to your success in playing college football, man?
For me, I'm very routine based in everything I do. I try to read a lot. I read more of like biographies, kind of like self-discipline stuff is something that's big for me, kind of looking more into tapping into my mind and understanding how I work. But staying to a routine, I'm very routine based in everything I do. I wake up at the same time, I go to bed every time. People don't realize like how valuable sleep is. Like I go to bed at like 9:30 every night. Like I have to get a certain amount of hours of sleep. And for me, just, staying disciplined in everything I do, whether it's working out and understanding it goes back to what I said about being where your feet are. So all I can do at any given moment is where my feet are at that moment in time. So me worrying about something that I can't control at that point, that's something that I've really had to focus in on is just controlling what I can control and being in the moment. So whether it's working out, watching film, whatever it is, being the best at that point. Like even I'm reading a book right now by Greg Harden, and he talks about just giving 100% everything you do, even and people don't realize the connection of like your grades to like literally everything you do. Like if you're gonna do the dishes to the best of your ability because it carries over in a part of your life. So that's a big thing for me is I just try to stay in the moment and especially in this season of my life, you only get it one time, and then you'll never get another chance to train for the NFL draft and stuff like that. So just kind of staying in the moment is something that's been big for me.
Do you feel in your college career, man? Obviously, last year was a rougher year for Auburn, man, but you were very successful. Do you ever feel like you have a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was a two-star recruit with 3 FBS offers out of high school. I was the
Wow.
54 ranked player in South Carolina. I had to go all the way to Kentucky just to play D1 ball. I didn't really play at Kentucky until my last year and a half there. So yeah, I mean, I would say I have a big chip on my shoulder just to kind of the way I look at it, I don't try to prove anybody wrong. I try to prove the people who believed in me right. That's been something that's kind of stuck with me a long time. Like the people who believe in me, they've believed in me long before I even believed in myself. So just kind of proving them right is been something that's big for me. It's the reason I wanted to go play in the SEC. It's the reason I want to go play in the NFL. It's just to prove that I can play against anybody. That's just the competitor in me. It's the same. Talk about giving 100% in everything you do. If I went and played pickup basketball, I'd want to be the best one on the court. That's just part of being a competitor. But I mean, yeah, I'd definitely say I have a chip on my shoulder.
Awesome, man. You were talking about those habits earlier, and then I
Mhm.
was like, winning in greatness is a habit too, man. And
No,
you have all the
absolutely.
qualities for it, man. So that's huge, man. We talked a little bit earlier about the Hula Bowl, and then you go to the Shrine Bowl, and then you have a lot of tape on you as
Mhm.
far as how you perform in college football. In your opinion, man, have you hit your ceiling yet?
No, I mean, I don't honestly, for me, like, it's kinda funny. I don't think
Mhm.
I was very good at football when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. I had to kinda grow into my body. So
Yeah,
for me, I finally started really growing into who I could be as a player, but I don't think I'm really even close to where I could be, and that's something that's kinda stayed with me. I feel like every year I've gotten better at something, and, that's gonna try to carry me as long as I can play this game. It's just keep getting better each and every year at something.
amazing, amazing. Once your name is called, man, whether it be day one, two, three, UDFA, somewhere in between there on the spectrum. Once your name is called, man, what are some of your goals year one in the NFL once you make a roster?
First and foremost, make the roster is
Yeah.
something big for me. Being able to put on an NFL helmet and play is something that's huge. Obviously, I want to be able to, you know, help the team in any way possible. Being a guy who can play 5 different positions, for me, it's just being able to help the team in any way possible, something. And then, I mean, just stay in the league as long as I can, is that's the whole goal in this is just, try to play as much football as I can before I'm, having to hang it up, whether someone's telling me to or whether I just can't play it anymore. For me, it's just get there and stay there. Obviously, I think the only goal I've really got so far is just make the team. That's the biggest one for me. And then,
Yeah.
just hopefully try to find a way to play somehow. So,
NFL teams, they do an abundance of research, man, talking to players, talking to coaches. Heck, they may even talk to an English teacher, right? They want to know, like, who is this person who's about to be a multi-million-dollar investment to our organization, right? You have the skills to pay the bills, man. You've shown that, man, time and time again. That being said, man, what's something you want NFL teams to know about you that perhaps they may not know already?
I feel like most of them know. They've talked to a bunch of people. I've had some pretty funny like interactions with guys who they've talked to
Mhm.
different people about me. But for me, it's just I'm consistent. I'm the same person every day. I think consistency beats talent each and every day. Um, for me, I'm the same person wherever I wake up. Like my mood doesn't really change. That's part of being a professional. I'm very mature in how I attack everything I do. And I mean, yeah, I like to have fun and like joke around with guys, but I understand when it's time to like work and stuff is something huge for me. But I mean, I just say consistency and being mature and being a professional in every aspect of my life.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, Gunner, dude, thank you so much again for taking and coming on the show, man. Make yourself vulnerable. We talked about everything, man, from the grind, getting into the NFL. We talked about your faith, your work ethic. And look, man, whether you end up on my team or not, you got a fan of me for life. And wherever you go, you're gonna crush it, man. I know it. The NFL team scouts who watch my channel and do research on you, they more than a diamond in the rough, man. You're standing out the sand, man.
No, absolutely. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Before we go, any shout outs?
My parents, hey mom, hey dad, if you watch this, my girlfriend Brashlyn. That's about all I got, And obviously, shout out to the Lord for giving me every opportunity to honor and glorify Him and all that I do. So,
Amen, brother. Hallelujah, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, comment below. Let me know how this interview took and made you feel. Also, as well, take and go in the description of this video. I'll have all social media stuff down there below where you could give them a follow, get inspired. Gunner Britton, Auburn. Let's go. Thank you for watching another episode of The Touchdown with Doug Smith, where we have exclusive NFL content and exclusive NFL interviews. Be sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. Follow us on social media. See you on the next one.